I visited the Pacific Northwest again and brought along my Remington 700 to shoot. But shooting in this region of the United States is pretty different from where I live now. It's full of mountains, rain, and more morning fog, and it really is very different from the flat regions, the hot weather, and the sunny skies of Texas. I was debating whether to go because I wasn't too sure how weatherproof my scope or even my camera was, but I knew if I didn't know when I'd get a chance to come back here. Shooting up in the mountains with the Remington 700 has been a ton of fun. It was a great time. Usually, as I mentioned, I'm used to more kind of flat ranges and very sunny, and there's not much variation in the environment. So coming here was a real treat and something I'd been looking forward to for a while. I still need to learn how to use the mil-dot reticle a little better. While I do understand how to adjust for windage and elevation, actually understanding how to use each of the hash marks and my holds and things like that, and just using mils in general is something that I'm not too familiar with yet. I was able to get by it in this range session just by, kind of guessing, frankly, Kentucky windage or whatever. But there's definitely some work to be done, so I should look into some classes. But regardless, it was still a great time, completely different atmosphere, and I really enjoyed going this time. There's something that just hits differently when you're shooting out in the mountains and the range, kind of in the wilderness, as opposed to just going out on private property, where there really just isn't as much going on with the environment. And it introduces a whole bunch of new factors, in my opinion, with the rain and wind and just uneven terrain, and it just makes it that much more enjoyable and that much more challenging. I grew up shooting bolt-action rifles, but I noticed with this Remington 700 that I did have some trouble loading rounds and also cycling the bolt. Now, I don't know if that's because the Remington 700 is so new, or if that's a quality thing, but it was just one thing that I did notice was a little harder than I had anticipated. I spent the entire range session shooting off a Pelican case to give me some more stability. And while that definitely helped, I do want to get a proper shooting bag so I can use that more effectively. The Pelican case definitely did its job, but basically I was always balancing the rifle on the sling swivel instead, whereas having a shooting bag, of course, would just be a much better design to shoot in more stable positions. I was probably shooting at about 400, maybe 500 yards at most, which is something I don't ever get to do back at home in Texas. So this was a really great time. I didn't hit the steel too much. In fact, the only time I think I did hit it, I didn't capture it on camera, but I did really enjoy that satisfying ping of steel when I finally did hear my shots connect with the plate. The two biggest things I learned from this range session were first that I really need to understand how to use my scope's reticle a little better and just understand mil dots better in general. Now I've shot with the ACOG at 200 yards on my AR-15 and that's in MOA, and overall I kind of get it and how to use the BDC on that. But this seems to be a whole different kind of scope which allows me to be a much better shooter once I understand how to use the reticle. And so I definitely need to get some more practice on that. The other thing that definitely stuck out to me was shooting in, I wouldn't say adverse conditions, but things like rain and wind and just shooting in uneven terrain is something I'm not as familiar with. I basically always go shooting out to a local, private range where, all the equipment is there for you and it's very flat land, and I only go when it's sunny because I don't want to get my car stuck in the mud, which has happened before. And so shooting out, in the mountains where it's not like dedicated for shooting is just a whole different environment, and you have to get used to shooting when it's raining and you're a little uncomfortable, holding for wind, and just shooting in positions, crouching or prone, that you wouldn't usually shoot in. And so that was definitely something that took a lot of getting used to, but it was a really good time doing it, and I hope I can do that again soon. So that was my start for the new year. 2025, I got some new guns, got some new scenery, at least for this video. But actually, speaking of new guns, I actually picked up this Glock 43X, if we focus. Yes. I was carrying a SIG M17 for concealed carry, and so I dropped all the way down to the subcompact instead. And so all I've done is put on these, the Glock steel sights, night sights. And so I've shot this just a little bit. The 43X is definitely a snappier gun than like your 19 or your 48, but I'm going to try it out, and they'll probably see this on the channel more, and it'll be a great gun. But it's, much smaller than what I'm used to, but I have shot this a few times at a local range, and it was a great pistol, and so picked it up, and we will see how it goes. Look at that. Nice and looking good. So anyway, that's off topic, but that's going to be another gun that I'll shoot more. New year, new guns, new scenery, and so we'll go from there. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.